Welcome to Stride and Strike. My name is Emma. This is our Teal Group's premiere on the network, and I am super excited because this is my original group. This is the first group I ever played any Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, whatever with, any tabletop role-playing game, and so I wanted to introduce them all to you. Before we go around the table, I'm going to say my name, my pronouns. I'm going to ask everybody else to do the same. Um, don't tell us who you're playing, though. Let's leave that a little bit of a mystery for the time being. So my name is Jamie or Emma. Either one is great, and I use she, her pronouns. Let's go to Sky next.
Hi, I'm Sky. I use he, they pronouns.
Then maybe Ryan?
Maybe Ryan is Ryan. He goes by he, him.
Cool. And then let's go to Brian.
Yep, this is Brian. We're the ones that are gonna have very similar sounding names, and he, him over here.
And Tim?
Hey, this is Tim. He, him.
And let's go to Yuri.
Watashi wa Yuri desu!
Oh, God.
Hi, Yuri.
My pronouns are he, him.
Cool.
Yeah, we were too serious before that.
What are your Japanese pronouns?
Well, Watashi, clearly.
Geek,
Yeah.
Goku, and
Boku.
Sonic.
All right.
Oh, no. We're sorry.
Oh,
I
you're
think.
fine. It was fun.
Join us next week.
So this is my OG group. They're amazing people, super fun to be around, super fun to play with, and I learned basically learned Pathfinder with all of them. We are playing the Outlaws of Alkenstar Adventure Path, and I'm going to be the GM this time, which is definitely not my comfort zone within this group because I was a player first. Ryan was our GM at the beginning, and I am stoked to jump into that spot with these people. It's okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little intimidating being a GM for this group because you all know so much about tabletop gaming. But I'm excited.
Excited to have you, GM.
Oh, this is where we respond naturally like people.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'll try not to break this one.
It'll be a struggle for him.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the Starfinder game, please.
Okay. Not yet. You did put me in a game with automatons again, so we'll see what happens.
A young gnome girl runs through a cobblestone street covered in snow, looking behind as she pushes forward. Long, braided purple hair flows behind her as her winter coat's hood falls to her neck. Shouts erupt from behind the girl. "Block the path! Stand tall! Nothing must breach the square!" Another voice, this time closer. "This way, Roz!" Two humans in full plate armor run toward the girl, making a path for her to skirt between them. They close the path and hold their spears steady. A piercing roar sounds from a distance, followed by the screams of fallen soldiers. The girl runs faster, tears streaming down her face. A hair clip falls from her braid, and she falters. Then a gruff woman's voice sounds from further down the street. "Ross, run!" A half-orc woman vaults from the horse-drawn carriage and runs toward the girl. She picks her up, cradling her in her arms, and darts back to the cart. The girl reaches toward the hair clip dropped on the stones. The woman wraps the girl in the blanket and sets her down in the front bench of the carriage before she can pick up the clip. "Yeah!" The horses erupt forward, and we fade to black. And lights begin to come back up on a new scene. We see a gnome sitting in a room with purple hair, candlelit. There's a candle at her table, and she's writing in a notebook. Journal entry number 1 by Rosaline Amberbloom, the so-called City of Smog. Here in the heart of the mana wastes, magic doesn't always work as planned, though I suppose you eventually become accustomed to it. It's an interesting place for sure, but I'm afraid I've run across a bit of trouble recently. Figured it might not be a bad idea to start keeping track of my goings-on with this little notebook of mine. You see, it turns out that a few weeks back, some stuck-up old tycoon named Mugland sent his goons out to my little farmstead, and they thought it fair to take our hard-earned crops for themselves. Well, as sure as air is still, I wasn't about to roll over like a sick puppy and let the man take what wasn't his. I guess he didn't like my standing up for my little community. As it turns out, my name has suddenly turned up on all manner of wanted posters all around town here in Alkenstar, with an accusation against yours truly, innocent little old me. Rosaline Amberbloom is apparently a big scary criminal who allegedly stole gold from Mr. Ambrost Mugland. Sure wish I had the gold to show for it. Seems that I gave the man a reason to frame me. I'd guess he's trying to cover something up, and I just happened to present myself as a scapegoat when he needed one. But who am I to say? A local bartender by the name of Phoebe Dunsmith has promised I can hit the old tycoon's wallet where it hurts. I'm just about on my way to her bar for a show. Hearts at High Noon. I guess it's one of them local theater productions here in Alkenstar. I'll have to keep my head lower to the ground than it already is, but I imagine I'll be able to avoid any do-gooder law enforcement folk on the way there. Blackout again as the scene changes, and lights go back up on a softly lit saloon. Our camera pans over to view a wooden stage at the far wall of a dining room. All number of people are in the saloon enjoying drinks and a variety of bar food, while an orc and a dwarf act out a scene from a theater production. Draw! Bang! A crack of thunder fills the air. The smoking gun, held by a powerfully built orc man wearing leather chaps, vest, and a shiny sheriff's badge, holds everyone's attention. The orc slowly lowers the firearm, stowing it back in his holster. He carefully, deliberately walks up to a bloody dwarf, surveying his handiwork.
Well, I'm sorry it had to go down this way, brother. You picked the wrong side, and that I can't abide.
He removes his pinched front hat, holding it over his heart. After a moment, he lowers his head, and the entire saloon erupts in applause as the pianist begins to play. The orc bows deeply, then helps the dwarf to his feet, who also bows to the attending patrons. The two walk to the bar, arm in arm, and order a bottle of whiskey. Thank you for attending, folks. A female dwarf stands on the bar top, addressing the patrons in a loud voice. Whiskey's only 2 silver for the next hour, and that includes top shelf. Come on back next week for the conclusion of Hearts at High Noon and our after party. Enjoy yourselves, and don't be afraid to throw some coin our way as you do so. If you know what I mean. We appreciate your time. Thank you, folks. And the dwarven woman, Phoebe Dunsmith, hops off the bar onto the sawdust-covered floor and heads to a back room, where a round table and private bar await. She props one foot up on a stool, leans forward on her knee, and casts a suspicious eye at the 6 individuals around the room. Well, now that the show is over, let's talk business. I brought you all here because we share some common enemies. With your help, I can make them pay and get you rich in the process. But first, I want you each to tell me why is it that you deserve a job that could pay your weight in gold. And she looks around the table. Which one of you is speaking up first? Actually, before we get there, I would like for each of you to describe who do we see at the table.
First,
Sure.
See a 6'4" tall Garundi tribesman with a helmet covering his face and loose robes, armor plates on top of them.
Okay.
Mostly for desert travel. He carries multiple weapons in multiple sheaths on his back, on his waist, on the back of his waist, at his hip, on his chest, and a small targe on his left arm. Yeah.
Who else
Do we know each other's names here?
I don't think you do.
Alrighty. I'll go next. I am also a human from near the Garundi area. Except, you see stark differences between the 6'4" Garundi and this lumbering, white-haired individual who, seems a little off to everyone. And does not carry any weapons, but just one shield and heavy armor.
There you see also a kitsune, about 6'3", dressed in very fine clothing, green dress shirt, a leather vest, and some slacks. 3 tails sticking out from under the backrest of the chair, and a gun holstered at his side. He is sort of scowling at our bartender with these icy blue eyes, and is sitting next to
Another gnomish woman, this one with fiery hair, some of it yellow, but most of it in orange, and maybe the very end of it going into red. Wearing a duster jacket, and on one shoulder is some kind of rodent, and around her neck is a metal contraption that holds a harmonica. And she seems to have already enjoyed some of those happy hour drinks. Has a nice stein in one hand.
And see a man who looks somewhat out of place in the city. He's a little bit tall, sort of sun-bleached blonde hair and salt and pepper beard. Late 30s, you would think. And he's just wearing a very simple cotton overshirt and pants with a rope belt. Pants are poorly patched with what looks like home-done sewing. And a simple straw hat to keep the sun off. He's got fairly tanned skin, but otherwise looks unremarkable. And if you'd ever been west of town along the Eustrati to see the farming communities that grow the food for town, you'd recognize his gear and his demeanor as a typical farmer.
And last but not least, we see a gnome woman in purple, with purple hair that flows down her back. She's also dressed in similar clothing to the man next to her, who one might recognize as a farmer. She's wearing a long coat over her farming clothes, and she has a large pistol, almost too crude to be called a pistol, holstered at her side. You might consider it more of a hand cannon, and it's just kind of sitting holstered against her belt. And she's got her feet propped up on the table, in of course, a chair that's tall enough for a gnome to sit and see everybody in. So Dunsmith looks at all of you, and she connects first with you, John. She says, "Well, it's good to see you again, Mr. Smith. How is your evening going?"
Well, better since the talk of gold, since that's what I need right now.
Indeed, and what would you say makes you deserving of such a well-paying gig?
Well, you know my story. I haven't been in town long, but, you know, I've been working in the sun my whole life. I'm strong enough, quick enough to get the job done, and I guess the main thing I got going for me is I'm desperate. So, you know why. No one's gonna be more on the ball than me, because I need to get this money and get back to my family.
Desperation is a powerful motivator, my friend. You, Kitsune, Foxman, what did you say your name was?
Leander Hollowell.
Oh, Leander, what makes you deserving of this little job I've got for you?
I have a grudge to settle with someone who I think you and I both have grudges with.
Oh,
It's
the
a large
man
one, and I
himself,
intend to settle it.
Mr. Mugland, I presume.
Yes,
And
Mr.
what is
Mugland.
it that you have against Mr. Ambrost Mugland?
He took something from me. I intend to repay that.
Interesting. I see. What about you with the rat on your shoulder?
It's a quokka. Hello, my name's Tag. What do I offer? Well, I'll tell you. I get all sorts of jobs in these bars, and this one seems the most intriguing by far. I have a certain set of skills that might be useful for this line of work.
And
Also, the two of us are a package deal, so where one goes, the other will follow.
I see. What set of skills you bring into the metaphorical table?
And without saying anything else, Tag reaches into the pouch of the quokka and pulls out a set of coins and says, "Are these the coins you were saying would get a drink? Because I totally did not take these from the tip jar while you were looking at the other people here."
Is a quokka a marsupial?
It absolutely is.
Is it
And is this your card?
It has a pouch of
a, is it a
holding.
thieving marsupial?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, these
Oh,
didn't come
goodness.
from the tip jar.
I take your point. Now, the woman with the white hair, what is your name?
My name is Obeafo, and I'm actually a man. Sorry.
Oh,
for
I'm
the,
so sorry, Tim. I totally thought your
misunderstanding.
character was a woman.
It's
I
okay,
apologize.
I get that a lot.
Well, I
Where I
do
come
apologize.
from, we do look a little different. I understand. My name's Obeafo, and, you know, where people travel, I travel. And around these parts, there's one man who keeps people from traveling. One man that does not let anyone just be. And I have an issue with that. So,
Mr. Ambrost Mugland, I presume?
oh, that's the man. I'm following anyone around here trying to get back at that guy.
Well, I
But just
understand.
look at me as the man that keeps things together.
Oh, quite a tall order. I respect that. So, should I call you the leader of this little gang of rebels here?
I actually haven't met most of these people, but I'll take that role if they need it.
Much appreciated and noted. Sir, with the all manner of weapons all about you, what's your
BB
name?
is led by no one.
Oh, well,
BB
please continue.
serves, studies, tracks, slays. There is nothing that shall stop Abibi from acquiring his quarry. And Mugland has not taken kindly to me tracking his quarry to one of his estates and bringing it down upon their heads. The glorious flames.
What is your quarry, friend?
Abibi is the impaler. All imps shall fall before my blade. I suspect that Mugland has been consorting with the demonic forces of Mephits and Imperials.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, that would be...
He has made my task in life more difficult, and he shall be removed from my way.
Well, I'm not one to argue with that. Well, friends, I have a job for you, as I've said, and I would like you to I'd like you to pay close attention to our plan. Here's the game. You see, Ambrost Mugland has a decent portion of his funds invested in an old bank called the Gold Tank Reserve. It's a rundown temple of Abadar in Ironside Quarter. It's mostly used by ranchers and crooked politicians. I happen to know they've sent half their clockwork handlers out for maintenance and won't have them back until tomorrow afternoon. This is our chance to hit Mugland where it hurts. All you have to do is bust up a few clockworks that are remaining, get the vault key from the bank manager, and fill a sack with gold. Once you've done inside the bank, run out the back. Mugland's got a few crooked shield marshals on his payroll, including that damn bastard Deputy Lovelace. She and her goons are sure to be hot on your tail, but don't fight them. They'll gun you down in a second if you give them the chance. Just run away and they'll look like fools. Nothing's sure to fry the deputy's egg like crooks she can't catch. Trust me. Now, you can lose them in the Whaling scrapyard just west of the reserve. There's a sewer entrance within. From there, it's a straight shot back to the saloon, where you'll be safe. Any questions about this, beautifully crafted plan that I have?
Does Phoebe have a beautifully crafted map for this plan?
Ah, map. Well, I could arrange that for you, yes. I'll make sure to have a map for you before you leave the saloon tonight, and actually, I can put you up in a room at the inn if you would like.
That would be appreciated. I suppose we could use some creature comforts while we're here.
It's
Speaking
done.
of, I enjoyed those hearts at high noon. Any chance I could meet the performers?
Oh, of course. I'd love to introduce you to our friends. They are talented theater performers, and they are some of the best. So, absolutely, we'll get you set up to speak with them later in the evening.
Hey,
Excuse me, Dogman. I have not seen many of your kind in these parts.
I would
Your
imagine not.
coat pleases my eyes. What color would you say it is? How would you describe this tint?
Oh, it's brown. Oleander says, holding up the duster that is wrapped around the chair behind him.
It's fucking brown, dude.
It's bro win.
Oh, I think you don't mean that one. Red? Dark red?
Is it brown or dark red?
The coat, the thing that I wear on me
Oh,
is
God.
brown.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
This coat, Oleander says, holding up, just like pinching a little bit of his fur. This is red. Yes. It's okay if you're colorblind. It would be helpful information to know, but
It's more prevalent.
I have some suggestions for y'alls if you are interested, but I'd like to make sure that you are able to ask more questions if you have them.
Where is the money kept, and how do we get to it?
Oh, well, once you get the vault key from the banker, you'll be able to make your way deeper into the bank, open up the vault, and I'd suggest checking out some other rooms within the bank just in case there's money being held there as well. But I would suppose that the majority of what you'll find will be in the main vault, and once you make your way in there, fill those sacks up with as much gold as you can, and make your way out. Once you work your way back, out through the waste alleyway behind the bank, you'll be able to make your way over to the saloon after quite some time of making sure nobody's following you. And I agree to make sure each of you get 10% each. I keep the rest to cover costs and fund the next part of our plan to take down Mugland. You know, assuming things go well the first time.
And were you intending to have us scope out the bank, or is that
Well,
work already done?
I think that would be a good idea depending on how you as a group would like to pursue this endeavor, but I have a few people here in the saloon tonight you might want to speak with to get a head start on your planning.
While we take all the danger in our hands, you sit, plan. 10% is unsatisfactory.
10%?
You
is
wish for 12
unsatisfactory.
each.
12%? Well, I will take your suggestion into consideration, friend.
Yes, we shall deliver the total sum, I'm sure, my friend.
Well, then there's nothing to worry about.
Maybe that sounds great to meet the other people who could help us plan this thing out. I'm also a little concerned about loose lips. You know, you got more drinks going on here. And they say where the wine flows freely, so does gossip. How do we know that this isn't getting out before we even get started?
Well, because y'all seven or rather, us seven, are the only people who know about this endeavor. The other folks here have no idea that this is what we're planning. They're simply invited by myself because I thought that they might have some interesting information for you to know before going into the bank. Now, they know nothing at all about this plan, and I intend to keep it that way. I assume I can trust y'all?
I think so. That's important to know before we go talk to them, that we're not going to spill the beans on this particular adventure.
Indeed. Well, on that note, I can direct you over to a fella who works for the bank. I invited him tonight to check out our show, Hearts at High Noon, but he doesn't really know that he's gonna be running into all of y'all. Now, if you'll give me a moment, I'll go ahead and pull his name up, and why don't you talk amongst yourselves for just a few moments?
Okay.
I'm gonna get out of this awfully distinctive armor before I meet any of these individuals.
It's a good call.
You will disarm yourself. Very
I am
well.
always armed.
This armor.
Do you agree with this plan, all of you?
Well, the plan to make a plan, that seems in order to me.
Monetary damage is not sufficient to settle my scores.
I think it's a good first step.
I wish for something more direct.
Maybe we can get it in with the banker, find a way up to the actual pockets he cares about. Getting through his wallet is one thing.
The building should be burned down.
The building that
You go too far. There's too many innocents in this building.
Oh,
Mugland
yeah.
resides in isn't the bank.
On
Are
that
there?
note, was it Mr. Obeafo?
That's me.
The innocent people in the bank. When it comes to Mugland's businesses, nobody is truly innocent. However, best to not go around killing nobody or taking hostages. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind taking his investors down a notch, but I can't abide working with a crew of marauders as wicked as the devil himself, and, you know, many of those people are simply caught up in the wrong thing and don't really realize what they're doing is wrong. So, please use some discretion in your endeavor.
Right, we don't want to be attracting too much undue attention, just the necessary amount.
And on that note, can I get a perception, a thievery, or any sort of lore check that you might think would apply to learning more about the bank? And she also does supply a map at your table that shows kind of the bank's layout.
Okay.
That's about all you got.
Do you want us to announce our roles?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if you would do that, please.
Then I'll roll again, not privately.
Oh,
Sure.
shoot.
It's okay.
So we have a set
14
order
lore
of this?
Alkenstar.
Okay.
And 17 thievery.
10 perception.
10?
Exceptional, I'm sure.
Obeafo, 18 perception.
All right.
And 9 perception. Can I do underworld lore, or is that not appropriate?
That seems really appropriate.
I think that's appropriate, yeah.
Okay. Only 11 now.
Can I do knowledge engineering? I'm sure that seems appropriate.
I don't think so.
It's sarcasm.
Okay. Oh, that would be a Pathfinder 1 skill, huh? Okay. So, with the perception check, who rolled perception? It was
Obey and Babibi.
Okay, so with a DC 12 perception, you're able to notice that, first off, there's a quiet street just outside of the Gold Tank Reserve. It's it's a quiet neighborhood. You would know looking at the map that, like, by the names of the streets, that this area is somewhere that, you know, if there were some sort of ruckus at the bank, it would be unlikely to immediately draw the attention of shield marshals, or other outside interlopers, people who are going to respond immediately. Since it is a quieter part of town, you think most likely law enforcement isn't suspecting anything to happen, so they're not patrolling this area really intensely. You also know, I think with the lore check on Alkenstar, John Smith, you know that the bank is actually an old temple of Abadar. The outer walls are solid stonework, and the domed ceiling of the main chamber is slightly cracked. Each entrance has new wooden doors with simple locks. So basically any way you try to get in is going to be locked unless you're going through the front door. With a, let's see, Oleander, with your thievery check, you think it's likely that there are some clockwork patrols that would be kind of patrolling the interior of the bank. And the way that those work is that they'll occasionally be seen through the windows. They'll stop, and they'll stop in various locations, open the shutter on their head, and slowly rotate their head in a complete circle before moving on, so that they can see everything around them. And then they'll continue to the next location. You think it would be pretty rare that they would see you through a window, because they're not going to be, like, going by windows all the time, but if you catch one by a window, best to stay away. And perception check again, anybody who rolled perception. There's a back alley, and the back of the bank features an overgrown yard that may once have housed a vegetable garden, but it's now little more than overgrown weeds. You think that doing anything here might draw more attention than elsewhere, because of the leaves that are strewn across the yard. And then there's also a pathway that leads to a side door marked staff only. So that was a bunch of information, but I wanted to kind of open it up to all of you. Do you have questions about anything before we move on?
Query.
Yeah.
Time of day for this assault.
Well, I would say that's up to y'all. It might honestly be easiest to go about this during the daytime, but that's up to you. Of course, there will be people inside the bank and potentially a couple of security guards inside the bank, but during the daytime, you'll actually be able to make it in. During the nighttime, it's going to be quite a bit more difficult because, well, they lock that bank up pretty tight when the sun goes down. So, maybe in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. Probably the morning would be the best time, but that's up to y'all.
Do we know if the key is still on the premises at night
The key.
for the vault?
Oh,
The vault, right.
So she responds with, well, I'm not entirely certain, but I do know that the vault key will be in the bank during the day when the employee who holds that key is on duty. As far as where they put that key at night, well, I couldn't tell you.
Query.
Answer.
Guards count as living creatures, which must not be slain.
Correct.
Indeed. I would,
Uh,
go ahead.
John would like to make knowledge, death, and dying rolls for 2nd edition.
Yeah, you know that, I mean, if you take someone down, then they're gonna start bleeding out, but there's a chance they could come back to consciousness. Yeah.
Can you specify non-lethal damage or not really?
Yes,
Yeah,
you can.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
you
-2 to hit.
-2 to hit. Alright, so we can try it. Okay.
Unless you have a non-lethal dedicated weapon, then it's great.
Okay.
Now, I will say that most of the people guarding the bank during the daytime will actually not be people. They're gonna be, well, automatons, clockwork creatures, whatever you want to call them, but they are made of gears and machinery and nothing else. Maybe a little bit of magic, but I can't say that those things are actually alive. So hopefully you feel better about taking some of them out if you absolutely need to. There will be some shield wardens inside the bank when you arrive. I would expect 1 or 2 of them, but I would advise just simply run away from them if you can, because, well, first off, I'd love to embarrass them, but second, I think it would be a bad look if we were to be found out and then find that we killed one of Ambrost Mugland's esteemed security officers.
Question. Can I use an engineering lore check to check my knowledge on automatons
Yeah.
and clockwork?
Yeah, please feel free.
Engineering lore 15.
15?
What typical armaments are we expected to run up against?
Okay, so you're likely to run across these things called gold tank brokers. They are basically handlers of of cash. They are the security guards. When large sums of money need to be transferred from one part of a bank to another, they'll be the people to carry it there, or rather the machines to carry it there. They are usually pretty dangerous. They hold spear-like things to attack. Other than that, probably nothing major to be concerned about, other than they have construct immunities, things like that.
Looking at the map, just the layout, does it look like this can possibly be a stealth job where there's enough closed rooms and segmented corridors that we can sneak around, or is it a big open floor plan like a temple would usually be where anything you're doing, everyone can see it?
Stealth. Well, you see, if you look at the map here, I would say you got a good chance of being as stealthy as you can be for a bit of time before you make that, make yourselves known. I'd say you'd be able to enter the establishment, walk around a bit, case the place, and try to determine what your best way to go about the heist might be. But once you decide to make the heist happen, I would assume that most of the bank's gonna know. However, I'm not certain. You could make yourselves as stealthy as a shadow in the wind, but I'm not sure if that'll last the entire time.
Yeah.
And we likely are not the first people to attempt to rob this place. Do we happen to know, besides the dangerous automaton things, what other security measures they happen to have to prevent people from getting out?
Who else would have thought of this plan?
Say that
People
again,
who
Yuri.
want money.
Yeah.
Would anyone else have thought of this plan?
Not this
Well,
specific one, but attempting to rob a bank in general, yes.
I would think most people are afraid to rob Ambrost Mugland. Any healthy person would have a healthy fear of robbing the man, as he is quite the tycoon. However,
And vindictive.
indeed, I would believe that it's possible someone else might be looking to do the same, but I would guess most people don't have the same intel that I've got. You see, I'm aware that his security force will be quite light-handed tomorrow afternoon. Or tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is basically either we bar the doors and keep everyone inside, or else once this starts and the customers run out screaming, then we're just fighting the clock till they get the law notified and on the way.
Oh, and Mr. Oleander, to answer your question about the bank closing up on you while you's in there, I have to say I wouldn't be terribly concerned about that. I don't believe they have any sort of mechanical security measures that can lock the door at a moment's notice. If someone's trying to lock the door, it's likely a person, so chances are you can take that person out for a brief moment and stop them from locking that door in front of you. I'd worry most about those clockwork people roaming about.
Alright, seems fair.
Looking at the map,
Mhm.
are there buildings in the surrounding area?
There
How
are,
close
yeah.
and how tall?
It's like nestled into a neighborhood, so basically,
Fantastic.
there are like homes on either side, or like small shops on either side. There's an alleyway in the front, or rather, a cobblestone street in the front, and then an alleyway in the back, and then it goes
So-
out into the waste area behind.
Here's the real question. With accounting for elevation and a ladder, is roof access viable?
Oh, interesting. I appreciate that creativity, my friend. Unfortunately, as this is an old Abadar temple, it's solid stonework, and the domed ceiling up at the top won't allow for many entrances inside. I believe there's only a small hole to allow light in from the top, and I don't believe that will allow a person inside.
We're gonna need a bigger bomb.
Getting in won't be a problem. It's during the day.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we're the first customers when they open the door in the morning, then maybe we won't be too disturbed by anyone else.
Alright, the fewer people that are there who aren't expected to be, then the better.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want any unexpected elements in our plan ruining things.
I was thinking more once we get out. if there's a place nearby that we're already friendly with or is abandoned that we could hold out until fire calms down.
I will make sure that you are set up safely to exit the situation. I'll have my saloon ready to take you in as soon as you can arrive. But I'll do some more thinking tonight, see if there's anybody else who can help you once you're done with your little adventure inside the bank.
Will we
I have a
receive a
question.
stipend for supplies?
Oh, of course, I have some supplies ready for you already.
I have a question.
Indeed.
Is the typical clientele in adventure gear? Like, can we wear our typical armor going in, or are we supposed to be off in linens?
Well, you might want to try and disguise yourself, but I would imagine anybody wearing full armor could simply disguise themselves as, well, someone's personal assistant trying to protect them. After all, everybody who tends to go into this bank is a do-gooder investor who has quite a bit of cash in their pockets, so it wouldn't be unheard of for them to have a personal guard following them around from time to time.
John raises a hand. I will need
Yes.
better looking clothes.
Oh, well, I can arrange
Bobby-
that.
Babibi has done guard work. Babibi will guard the fox.
Thank you, I suppose. Speaking of Fox specifically, and I'm going to interrupt out of character for a second.
Oh.
Small note that might be important very soon. For my change shape feature,
Mm-hmm.
do all of my clothes and equipment get subsumed into my new form? As mine is a small fox.
Typically with polymorph, your clothes stays with you.
Yeah.
God, that'd be interesting.
It's a magical.
Right. Is this polymorph rules, or are we doing like anamorph rules, or are we doing? I'm just going to have to
All
be.
your equipment goes with you.
Podcast
It's a
soon.
magical.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
change shape, I believe it is. It goes with you, turns into the fox.
Okay, that's good.
We can double check later, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, I'm reading the form, and it's not saying anything specifically
Okay.
about that. But if it's polymorph rules, if we're just going to kind of assume that, then yeah.
Visually, between Oleander and Tag, who can look the most important and worth being a patron at this bank?
That's a good question.
If we're gonna do this ruse, we need someone to
Well, we-
have guards.
Yeah, but just to walk in the door. We're not going to be
I
buffing anyone, I don't think.
suppose I could play that part. You're definitely the more personable of the two of us, but I'm generally the better dressed.
Yeah. If you're looking for the attitude and snobbery, that's me. If you're looking for who looks the part, that's him.
Well, I mean, there's something also to be said of the attitude and snobbery coming from this one, but oh well.
I care not for who I guard. Just decide.
Now,
Me.
I have something that
I'll take
might.
John.
What's that?
I'll take John.
Yep, that's fine.
And Rosaline chimes in. Oh, I would appreciate if I could join Mr. John Smith. I've seen you around the farms now and then, and maybe if Mr. Obeafo, you could act as our guard. That who was it that offered?
That was me. Yeah, I have no issue with that.
Mr. Smith, would you mind if I joined you as well?
That seems fine.
Excellent. Now, and Phoebe Dunsmith chimes in. Well, everybody, I have a little gift for y'all, something that might help you. And then I need to go attend to my customers. First off, the people that I'd like you to speak with here. The first one is a teller by the name of Byron. He's over at the Barrel and Bullet, which is a neighboring saloon. And I would recommend speaking with him about maybe trying to get an idea of how the bank works from within. And after that, I might advise you to ask around and get some information about the Wayland Scrapyard out behind the Gold Tank Reserve. It's known to be a little bit treacherous. I'm sure all of you can handle it, but it's something to be prepared for.
In what condition should Byron return to work tomorrow morning?
Oh, well, that is an interesting question. I would be shocked if he went to our fine establishment here tonight and didn't have himself a few drinks.
Hungover, perhaps?
I think that might
Be
be
a little bit
nice
off his
idea.
game. All right, well, we can wine and dine him, or we'll just try to drink him under the table, I suppose.
So, I'm going to open this up to all of you. We have a few things that you can do now. Oh, and as she leaves, by the way, she gives each of you a hat of disguise.
Whoa!
Yeah. And
Yes, I would like that, for sure.
So what does it do?
so, a hat of disguise. This ordinary-looking hat allows you to cloak yourself in illusions. The hat casts a first-level illusory disguise spell on you. While setting up the disguise, you can magically alter the hat to appear as a comb, ribbon, helm, or other piece of headwear. And I will allow all of you to kind of flavor that how you want. Make your own choice there. But you now each have a hat of disguise, which is a level 2 item. And before
I traded for a rune of striking.
as she,
Go ahead.
as she puts that
Don't
down,
break the game.
she kind of drops those in front of each of you, and then she says, and one more thing. She drops a bag of holding on the table as well.
Son of a bitch, that's a lot of gold we're gonna carry.
Yep.
And, well, thank you very much for your generous gifts. I'm sure I, for one, stand out in this crowd a little bit more than the others, so I appreciate the ease of making a disguise for me. As to the bag of holding, though, if you don't mind, if I carry it for the sole reason that I will be able to make it even more hidden, if necessary. And if I may demonstrate, and Oleander, with a little bit of a flourish and a bow, will change shape while holding, I'm assuming, the bag of holding, and into a small, adorable little red fox.
Oh, well, my, now aren't you the most adorable little thing in this whole bar? Oh my goodness, everybody take
Immediately
a look.
changing shape back. Thank you, that will be enough of that, I'm aware. But point, I suppose, taken?
You can fit in a sack and I can carry you.
I can. I can also fit through tight spaces and carry things that may need to be hidden and conveniently not on any of your persons.
You can
Like
fit
a
in a
key of a
sack and I
vault.
can throw you over a wall.
Please don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you asked me not to break this campaign, and then you give me a bag of holding, session 1. Okay, so there's a very small opening in the ceiling, probably wide enough for a bag of holding with 5 people in it to go through.
And the fox that
Yeah.
can leap through it. Yep.
Okay, new plan, back to the roof.
Except we can't open the bag from the inside, so you
Quack,
Java.
Not a
Quack
problem.
opens the whole...
We have a fox that can do it.
Oh,
I
was thinking
see.
more familiar, but yes.
I like this idea.
No, I can. Someone inside can attempt a DC 13 escape attempt to get out. So one of us will make it and let the others out.
Will you? Are you sure?
Eventually, it's
We're gonna
13.
land on
I have a positive.
Someone out of curiosity is gonna be like, "What the hell's this bag doing?"
Yeah, and then sword straight out of the bag.
No.
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 We're leaving people alive.
They can take one sword.
One
Well-
sword in the eye.
If
Just a
y'all are
little
done
stabbing.
with your little shenanigans, then I'm gonna walk away and go tend to my customers. Remember, Mr. Byron, he's a teller, and then I would recommend just, asking around about the Wayland Scrapyard.
Thank
Have a
you so
wonderful
much,
night.
dude.
Oh, oh yes, of course. But one more thing, you have about, I would say, 15 to 18 hours before Mr. Ambrost Mugland's little goons arrive back in that establishment. So, chop chop, my friends. And she gives you a smile, turns away.
Don't try
It's-
real smooth.
Yeah, it's about 9 p.m. right now.
Okay, it only holds 2 humans. Level 1 bag.
So Byron is just a
Damn
teller. Okay.
Let's see what he has to tell.
How practiced are you in the art of seduction?
I know my way around man, woman, or something otherwise. What do you have in mind?
It's either violence or coercion. I can do either or. I'm better at violence.
Well, we don't want to play our hand immediately before the game.
And don't let me talk to him.
Before we
All
get
right.
to that, what do
Duly
we want to
noted.
know specifically from Byron?
Well, do we know who has the key and where they are in the morning? That's probably
That's a
number
good
one. Yeah, what and where is security? I guess we
How-
have a map for where the vault is.
Well, how to disguise? How do you even identify workers? Is there a way we could blend in as a worker, knowing what they wear or what procedures they use?
That's fair. We could either be highfalutin sort of patrons and then
Yeah.
pull a fast one on them, or we can blend in and...
Or we could be plumbers.
Well, seriously, if we go in dressed how we are, and then we use the hat of disguise once we're inside, nothing stops you there from them disguising as a guard or something like that.
Yep.
You just need a safe spot where no one's observing you, and you become someone completely new.
Right, but we probably should make sure that our actual appearances, especially those of us who stand out a little bit more in a crowd of non-Fox people, are probably going in disguised and then change to another one later.
Yeah,
We'd like to probably not tie our actual appearances to anyone who is seen in or out or around this place.
Yep, go in with one disguise, switch to another.
Our hat of disguise allows us to appear as another creature for 1 minute.
once per day.
Once per day.
Once per day, well then.
We have to be within 6 inches of their height, which might rule me out, and 50 pounds of weight.
Fair enough.
We might either
But we
want the
could
guards.
pool our hats together. One individual could have multiple disguises.
True.
It's possible.
We could either continually appear as Byron. Maybe we could be clockwork guards and move into different locations.
Okay, so I
Or
think
we could even be Ambrost Mugland.
I think this is, it takes 1 minute to activate it. The
Oh.
spell itself says it lasts for an hour.
An hour, even
Yeah.
better.
There you go.
Yeah, so we'll be okay for...
So now we have a whole cast. If someone wants to actually pretend to be Ambrost Mugland,
It says it's not good enough to impersonate
a
someone.
specific
Okay.
person. Yeah,
Right.
So, guy in uniform of bank, yes.
Yes.
Byron, probably not.
works for me.
Well,
so
also-
just
Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
so far I got who has key, what and where security, and uniforms. Anything else we're thinking for Byron?
Exits other than the front door, and are they locked from the inside, or can we just leave?
Right.
He's going to be very drunk or very hurt to answer these kinds of questions.
If we're intending to get him hung over for tomorrow, then I suppose that is likely going to be feasible. You think you're up to that challenge, Tag?
Up
Oh.
and down.
I know you are.
Let's go with another angle. Maybe we can turn him. Is there something he wants or someone we can threaten?
Well, but also, what could he do for us?
That's fair. I don't suppose Mugland is the kindest of employers. Every man has his price.
Yeah, but what would he do for us?
We need more information on him.
So clarification, is Byron at this saloon, or we're going to the Barrel and Bullet to meet him?
Let me double check. I believe you are all at the, let's see. You are at the Barrel and Bullet Saloon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in the back
Convenience.
room or something.
So he
Got
is
it.
here.
Yeah. We could also ask how the automatons work, if there's any way to give them commands or shut them down centrally, or if they would, like, respond to a fire in one corner and I'll go over there, or, you know, something about their routines. Do they ever act weird or malfunction?
Okay.
Find out where he lives, if he has family, if he has pets, and if there's any fetishes he doesn't want to get out.
That feels like a longer term plan than tomorrow morning.
I mean, we'll table it.
Yeah.
And
Affairs, even.
after kind of, I would imagine, walking around the saloon a little bit, maybe looking for this person, maybe asking here and there, hey, do you know someone by the name of Byron? You see...
Oh, you said he was in another saloon other than ours, right?
No,
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 that's
I
that's what I
initially-
clarified.
Yeah, I initially thought that, but he is actually here at this saloon. But asking around, you are able to find who you think is Byron, and it's a human man sitting at a table by himself, and he has a tankard of ale in one hand. He looks a little bit sad, and he's just drinking his ale.
Madame Phoebe, I'll take 2 off the top shelf bottles. I'll hand her 1 piece of silver.
Oh, why? Well, of course.
For a friend.
For a friend. And what did you say your name was? And she gives you a wink.
Habibi's name is Spencer.
And Halfling approaches the bar, still with mostly orange hair, but now with a distinctive feather in her hair. And she says, "And my name is Sam. I'd also like one of those deals if you don't mind."
Well, of course, Miss Sam. She gives you a wink as well. She hands...
Do I actually get the bottles?
Yeah, she hands each of you what you requested.
Fantastic. Because I was going to give those bottles to Sam already and say, go help our friend.
Okay.
Sam says, "Maybe 4 is too many. I'll take these 2 from the kind gentleman Spencer."
I mean, if you're offering, I'll take one.
Okay.
All right,
3 bottles.
John is going to have sort of an anxiety attack watching this and decide that we have
That's
too
fair.
many cooks in this social interaction. Jamie, unless you really don't want us to split the party, I think John Smith will like walk to the bank and scout escape routes along the way.
I'm
Sounds
going
good.
with you.
Okay.
I will be scouting as a fox to get into places.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sounds
I was
may
planning
not
on going
be.
to the whaling scrapyard. I just
Yeah,
was
the
giving the bottles
scrapyard is
to-
the same area,
to
so
the
I said
person
we'll
to
check
jump
out
them
the
up.
scrapyard and then figure out an escape route back to the bar.
Sam the halfling looks around and only sees one of his original party back, or one of her. Only one of her party.
Oh, no,
No,
but
2 of her
listen.
party. 'Cause
I'm about
Roz.
to leave.
Oh, just Roz then.
Yeah,
Good
Rosaline
hunting.
is with y'all, and she hangs out in the bar. But she looks at you, Tag, and does one of these with her thumb, like, I'm gonna go over here. Points back over her shoulder and walks to another table and begins talking to people.
Tag says to herself, "Tag, you're it, I guess," and approaches the table.
Okay.
And I will have said where we're going so that you're apprised of it. And on the way out, I've given you a kind of a shoulder pat and said, "Well, work your charms. Do what you're good at."
Yeah, I do a quick message to each of you. Hey, this is what my voice sounds like when I message you. Make sure to respond if I message you.
I say okay out loud, and then I'm confused.
Yeah.
I put on the hat of disguise myself as a half-elven man
And then
of roughly my same height, and say, "Your face, who dis?" as I leave,
Okay.
so that you are familiar with what my disguise will look like.
I shall scout the scrapyard
Okay.
and prepare a path.
I'm going to start with Tag at the table. The man looks up at you as you approach.
What can I help you with, miss?
Sam, I was gonna give you a drink for celebrating, but maybe to drown your sorrows instead?
Oh, well, I suppose so. I've been a little more upset today than usual. The name's Byron.
Pleasure, I'm sure. What's bothering you? You mind if I join you? I've got a drink for me, maybe a drink for you.
Oh, well, that's mighty kind of you, Miss Sam. Well, I suppose I'm brooding over here because well, it's a work-related thing.
I hear you. We tend to carry our work home with us, don't we?
That is very true, friend.
Tell me, what's happening at work? What do you happen to do?
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to bore you. It's, not an exciting life.
I'll tell you what, I already had that excitement with the show. Wasn't that great?
It was fantastic, although I can't say it's my cup of tea. But they are mighty talented. I'm happy to have been invited tonight. Do you know the bartender, Miss Phoebe Dunsmith? She is mighty kind.
Can't say I know her too well. I'm not from around these parts. That's why I was hoping to hear your story. A little bit of, what seems boring to a local. It's interesting to me. I'm a traveling halfling, so I would love to hear your story, Mr. Byron.
Well, in that case, then, and he holds up his drink, gives you like a clink, cheers, and takes a swig. Well, you see, I'm a teller over at the Gold Tank Reserve. It's a bank down in the neighborhood over that way. Well, you see, I've been working there for quite some time, and I've been expecting a big old promotion for a while. It's been some time. I'm trying to look out for my family, and, well, somebody else got the promotion over me.
I hate when that happens. You're looking out for the family, and then they don't look out for you, no matter how much you work, how long you go. Tell me more. What's the... I hear teller and then promote up to what? Manager? Is that how it works?
Well, I was hoping to become a broker, but it's not really in the cards, I guess. Rather help people with their finances than sit behind a cash register the entire day, taking cash out, giving it to people. I'd rather, I'd rather help people with their financial advice. Maybe an accountant of some sort, maybe just something more than standing behind a desk. And he takes a swig.
Absolutely. I think Byron the broker has quite a nice ring to it. Byron the teller.
The broker, well, yeah, Byron the teller's not too exciting. Byron the accountant, Byron the broker, well, whatever, I don't know. Guess it's not gonna happen.
Why didn't it happen this time? I want to know. Who got the lead over you?
Oh, well, it's an elvish woman. she's been working at the bank not too long, not too short either. You know, she does her job well. I wouldn't, you know, I'm not upset that she's the one to get the position, but, well, I just wish it was me, you know?
Yeah, I hate that. You seem like, I mean, we've only been talking a little bit, but I would love to talk to you if it was me coming into the bank.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's...
I'm actually... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's very kind of you. Give me a diplomacy check.
Absolutely. And so that is a 17.
You feel that at this point in the conversation, you could either try to make an impression or you could coerce him into doing something that you would like. Either way, it's up to you how you want to proceed, but you feel like you've made enough an impression to continue this further.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if it's better to get him good and drunk and have him recognize me the next day and start it that way, or if it's better to coerce him into letting us in. I think I'll go with the coerce option, I think.
Okay. What do you say?
So, I keep the conversation light for a little bit, but the drink's a little heavier. And anytime his cup is getting close to empty, I motion to Phoebe to refill it.
He's like putting his hand over, like, no, I'm fine, really. Oh, well, another one. I guess I could do one more.
And I keep pouring at mine, but it's now being filled with water instead of with alcohol so that I can keep alert, but then he feels like he's drinking with me. And so I think the next line of inquiry will be like, I noticed what he came in to the bar with. Is that what he wears at work, or how did the other uniforms look like? Would it have looked differently if he was broker? Do the security look like that too? It's quite a sharp uniform. Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. This is my teller's uniform. It's quite similar to many of the other uniforms at the bank, but well, you see this little pin right here? This is what indicates that I am a teller. The accountants have a slightly different one. The brokers have a slightly different one. Security has a slightly different one. Well, security's in full plate armor, but...
Oh, really?
Indeed.
Full plate?
Yeah, we gotta protect what's in that bank.
I guess security is paramount, but I would imagine that would be quite tiring for most people.
Oh, well, I guess they're professionals, you know. I don't know if you are much of a fighter, but before I worked here... Oh, well, before I worked here, I had my fair share of adventuring, and it can be quite tiring. Anyway.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And your family, they adventured with you too?
Oh, no, that was before I met the missus.
Oh, so there's the missus at home. Well, that has to cheer you up, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. Well, I just wish I could supply some... Well, I wish I could provide for them. But, like I said, I guess that's not happening as much as I would hope.
Yeah.
I should probably call it a night relatively soon. I'm supposed to open up the bank tomorrow morning. I gotta make sure that I'm all put together. I gotta get my keys ready and such.
Oh, no kidding. You were talking about keys. There must be, what, multiple entrances and gates and all that? That gets very complicated very quick, doesn't it?
Oh, indeed. I just need to open up the main entrance and the back entrance. Start with the main entrance. You know how it goes. It's like any establishment. Just gotta make sure that it's open for people to enter.
I see. And it's when the bank opens, that's when you open up the main entrance?
Indeed, yeah. We have we got some workers who who will be going in before me, but they'll be keeping everything closed before I get there. I'll be the one to go in and open up the main gates.
I would like to deceive him, like I'm going to take his cup to fill it with some more alcohol, but instead I'm actually reaching over his wrist to try to mess with his watch a little bit.
Okay, give me a thievery check.
Thievery? Okay. I wanted to try to more talk it over.
Why don't you give me if you can give me a DC 20 diplomacy check, then I'll give you a +2 on your thievery check.
Okay.
Kind of aid yourself, I guess.
It didn't happen.
Okay.
So as I start to talk it over, I think it's a bit too clumsy and obvious, and so I decide maybe I'm not going to go this way.
Okay, give me a perception check as you make that attempt.
Okay. Oh, critical fail. Got it. 1.
Oh,
So
no.
that's a 7.
There it is.
You sent the right woman for the job.
Yeah, the rolls aren't going with me this time.
Oh, good. He starts to stand up and just says, "Well, it was very nice speaking with you. I hope you have an excellent night. What was your name again?"
Sam, nice to meet you as well, Byron. If I do end up having the fortunes to bank somewhere, where you work sounds like such a great place.
Indeed, yeah, it's well, it's fine. I hope you'll start an account with us at some point. We'll have a wonderful night. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.
Tag.
Yeah.
As he walks out the door, you catch just hanging out of the back of his messenger bag is a silver key that's on a large key ring.
Since it's in his bag, is it considered attended?
It is, I would say, in his current state, I would say it is probably unattended.
Okay. Then I'm going to use Mage Hand just to knock it out of the
Clever.
bag,
Okay,
and then later I'll retrieve it. I'm just knocking it under the table, kind of thing.
nice. And a set of keys falls on the ground at the entrance to the door and gets swiped underneath the table.
Is it like a couple of inches or smaller, the keys?
The keys are actually, they're on a large key ring, a large silver key ring, and there are like 3 or 4 keys on it. And
But it's light, right? Not
it's light, yeah.
Okay, then I'll just sit at the table drinking a little bit, but those who are really paying attention probably would notice that the quokka descends from my shoulder, it goes under the table, and puts something in the pouch, and then comes back up onto my shoulder.
All right, so you now have a set of keys that you believe you could use for getting into the bank.
Great.
Let's-
I messaged the update to everybody else.
How far does message go?
It's 120 feet or something like that. I'll check.
120 feet?
Yeah, I would think if you are investigating the scrapyard, you probably aren't going to be able to hear it.
Yeah, so the 2 others still at the bar with here, and the 3 of us who went to scout.
Yeah, let's go ahead
We'll find out
and
when we return.
let's take a look at the scouts. What are we all doing as you arrive at the bank and the scrapyard?
I am going to change into my fox shape.
Okay.
And I'm going to do just a quick perimeter search, look through the alley, and I want to kind of see what the escape route could look like.
Okay. The Yeah, give me a perception check, or you could give me a survival check. You could do maybe an applicable lore check if you think something might work.
I will go with perception, which is going to be a nat 1.
Yeah. And I'll be doing the same thing, but in a disguise as, a city worker going home for the night and walking past.
Fox has low light vision, not dark vision. There's my excuse.
Cool. John Smith, with your lore check on Alkenstar, looking around, this neighborhood seems like if you're gonna steal a bank, this is an excellent place to do it. Steal from a bank, this is an excellent place to do it. It's like kind of a suburban area. There isn't any law enforcement station anywhere nearby. And I think you would know from your time in and around Alkenstar that the streets here are kind of hard to navigate, and so it's going to take a bit of time for someone to get to this bank if something went wrong. Looking at the bank entrance, you would know is, while it is kind of an out of the way area, it is still a relatively busy street. So you think in the morning, if you go around the time of the bank's opening, there will probably be quite a few people on the street going in and out of the bank. While most people tend to mind their own business, you're probably going to end up coming across quite a few people as you approach. So I think that's what you get by looking at the area. Everything else seems to check out based on check out with what Phoebe Dunsmith said. And I think that's kind of everything you're going to get about the bank itself.
Okay. I want to look in the, surrounding area to sort of plot a path where, we duck out the back door or a side door of the bank, we go down a blind alley that's not really easy to see, we duck into a business and out the back of that one. Basically how to get 5 blocks away without being super visible the whole time, if I can.
Yeah, and it's actually super convenient in looking at all of this more closely. Give me a perception check or a survival check. But,
sure.
It seems like it would be a pretty easy escape.
Okay, yeah, 17 perception.
Yeah, 17. You're definitely going to confirm that the best way to get out of this is through the Wailing Scrapyard. Basically, right backed up against the bank is this waste scrapyard. And there's a big fence that you'd have to hop in order to get in. But once you do, you'd think it's pretty easy to hide amongst all of the trash and scrap and junk that's just kind of sitting around the area. And as you kind of work your way through that scrapyard, which you can't really get into it easily right now, but looking at it, it seems like it kind of winds around quite a bit. So it'd be a good place to lose people. And the scrapyard is pretty big. You think it's at least as large as the bank itself, if not double the size. And it leads to a sewer drain. And so you can escape through the sewer drain, which is large enough to hold up to a humanoid-sized person.
Okay, so I will sort of plot out, the path that I think we could run from hopping the fence out the back door of the bank to places we could hide on the way to the sewer grate, too.
Cool.
entering it and then like try and get a sense from looking at other sewer grates in the ground, which direction we would go once we're down there to get far enough away.
Okay. And I believe also Babibi was checking out the Wailing Scrapyard. Did you want to do anything specific? You good, Yuri?
The night is pregnant with the anticipation of tomorrow's events.
What?
Babibi shall visit the butcher. Is the butcher open?
The butcher shop?
Yes.
At this time of night, no, it is not. But you do find a butcher
This
shop
fits.
pretty close by.
Habibi will walk to the back and throw to the floor the trash bin with the wasted meat from the end of the day and collect one full sack. Assuming there's any waste bin, I'm presuming already.
Yeah, I would say so.
Alright, I will take the rotten and ripening meat and fill 2 sacks worth on my way to the scrapyard.
Okay, cool. You're able to collect the meat from the back of the butcher shop. It looks like it's pretty gross. It smells pretty bad. This is like 3 or 4 day old meat that is, not that hasn't been like preserved. It's kind of the scraps that they didn't use, and it smells pretty bad.
If a whaling yard is guarded by dogs or the like, the smellier the better.
Smart. I like it.
Alright.
Are y'all cool with? Oh wait, Oleander, you were at the Wailing Scrapyard as well. Did you want to do anything?
Oh, you went directly?
Yes, and I would also have wanted to do something before the night is up.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say I need to get to the scrapyard while the night is still going.
Cool.
Later.
Yeah, you're able to do so.
Did you need to play something out, Yuri?
You can go first.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I did roll a nat 1 perception on things that John and I were already looking over, so I guess if there's anything specifically you need to resolve from that. Otherwise, I did have a thing I wanted to do before the night is up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will momentarily change back to my normal form when we are done scouting out, which I assume we're going to do at some point.
Yeah.
And I will tell John, you can make it back to the inn yourself, I presume.
Yeah.
When you see Tag, let her know that I'll be joining you all shortly. I have some business to attend to.
Okay.
And then reassume my fox shape, and I am going to go home.
Okay.
To my home, which I suppose we were talking in some backstory stuff. My previous knowledge with Tag, she obviously would be familiar with where I live. But John, not to give away too much on Mike, but I believe you were also staying with us for a bit?
No, I think we said I'm staying at the inn, basically.
Staying at the inn.
Yeah.
Okay. I meant prior.
Yeah. No, yeah, we changed that.
Right. Okay, we changed that. That's fine. Then that's just me then. I would go home. I would approach the door. And I would enter into my own home. I'm assuming Elwyn and Lilac are there.
Yeah, they are in their room at this time. You open up the door and you hear a little girl's voice. Daddy! And they run to greet you.
I pick Lilac up in my arms, give her a big, swooping, twirling hug. Say, did you miss me?
I guess. What'd you do today?
Oh, planned some business with a few associates of mine. Nothing you would be too interested in.
Can we do the
Brought
story?
you a present. Oh, of course we're going to do the story before you go to bed. That's why I'm here. Couldn't let you go to sleep without a story now, could I?
and she just kind of gives a shy smile. You got me something?
I did, indeed. And I pull out a small flower I have picked from when we were scouting. I'm assuming a wild area has probably got some wild flowers in blossom.
It's so pretty. As this little fox girl looks at this flower, how would you describe her? What does she look like?
She is the spitting image not of me, but of her mother. She is very small. She has 2 tails, and she has 1 green eye on her right, 1 blue eye on her left. Tiny, precocious, dressed very girly, and probably has some paint splatters somewhere on her.
Do you want to see what I made today?
Absolutely, of course. I would love to see what you made.
And she kind of leads you over toward a table that you all have, that you have set up for her to paint on. And she shows you a canvas painting that she did. And it seems kind of childish, but at the same time, like, she's talented. She has a good handle on her line work. She hasn't quite figured out shading yet, but she's got a good idea of how to make shapes relatively accurate. It's better than most children would do, but it's still, obviously, it's a child's painting, and she's very proud of it. She's beaming at you as she holds it up.
How easily can I tell what it is a painting of?
It's it's a painting of kind of a field of flowers with some mountains in the background.
Very good.
And there's a wooden structure that is off in the distance.
A mountain cabin surrounded by some flowers and happy little trees. Very well done.
Oh, thanks. I had a dream about it last night.
You did?
Yeah, it was really pretty. I dream about it sometimes. I guess I've never really painted it before, but you know, I guess I don't think about it so much. But I thought I'd try to paint it out. But yeah, it was in my dream last night.
Oh well, that is fascinating, Lilac. Now you go run up. Let Andy and I talk for a little bit, and then I will join you for your story shortly. All right?
Okay, sounds good. Are you gonna take the painting with you, or are you gonna keep it here?
Let's keep it here for now. I'll be nice to have some art hanging up in the house, I think.
Okay, and she runs upstairs.
All right. Thank you for watching her, Elwyn.
Of course. How are you?
Tired. And I give my husband a kiss and pull back and look him in the eye and say, well, I might be gone for a little while.
Something's wrong. What's going on?
Nothing's wrong, but you know how work is. Sometimes I might have to lay low for a bit. But I'll be back, as long as everything goes well. We're planning something for tomorrow that will help us settle our score, I think.
Am I going to hear about it in the newspapers?
Not right away. Certainly not with my name attached to it, if we are successful.
Keep it that way.
Will do. You will want to keep in touch with us. So, as soon as possible, I will write to you. If not, have Tag send you a message letting you know that we're okay. If we happen to be close by, but just laying low. We'll get word to you somehow, but if you hear that nobody's been caught, then we'll have done our job.
You know that I appreciate your friend Tag. I really do, but she's often a little bit more chaotic than I would like. I worry about you when you're with her.
Well, it won't be just the two of us this time. It will be an entire group of people. There's quite a collection, actually. You've met John, likely, or at least you've heard of him.
Oh, the nice farmer man. Yes, I remember him. He seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders.
I'd say so, yes, but found a few other heads on shoulders that I think will do the job well, so
Somehow that
feel
makes
good
me
about this one.
a little even more frightened. But I trust you. Shall we?
Alright. We shall.
And he begins to walk upstairs and grabs the storybook for Lilac, hands it to you, and kind of follows you into the room after you.
And after a story, moment with my husband, and tucking my little girl into bed, I will return to the inn.
Okay. Going over to, was it Yuri? Did you have anything else that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I'd like to approach the scrapyard.
Okay, go ahead. What are you trying to take a look at? Are you trying to perceive? You trying to do something in the scrapyard? Tell me more.
At the moment, I'd like to stop short 200 feet and observe it.
Okay. Give me a
Is
perception
there
check.
movement? Sure. I'm looking for general movement and construction, the area, and how large it is. And perception will be 16.
Okay. You think maybe you see a flash of movement off in the distance. Through the fence, as you're looking, you see maybe a shadow kind of dart from one pile of rubbish to another. You think maybe it's an animal of some sort. It's hard to tell. And as you're looking into the scrapyard, it looks quite large. I mean, there's literally a steamboat, like a
Whoa.
full boat that is sitting within the scrapyard, and it looks like they just kind of dumped it here. This place is massive, so I mean it's definitely a good place to get lost, and it's definitely a good place to lose someone.
Alright. The night is quiet, hot, and dry. Babibi's nose is pricked by the rot in his hands. He drops the sacks at his feet and grasps a handful of rancid meat in one hand and approaches the perimeter fence. What is the material of the fence, if I may?
Yeah, it's a metal wire. Doesn't look like it's too.
Could I compare it to like modern chain link?
Yeah.
Alright. With all his might, Babibi hurls the rotten parcel as far into the junkyard as he can.
I have a very
it's
important
no-
question, Yuri. Is
Yes?
Babibi narrating this as he does this?
I was gonna ask. I was going to ask. I'm glad you did. Please say yes. At least in your head.
Oh, absolutely in my head. But what stealth would I do? Am I just talking out loud? Yes, these are inner thoughts.
Okay.
Inner monologue.
Cool. Continue. I'm sorry.
With all his might, he strains his biceps and hurls the rancid parcel deep into the scrap of cries.
Okay.
I'll do a strength check of 6. Woo! Boys, 6.
It
Yeah.
it hits the chain link and falls maybe a foot away from the chain link. But it is inside. Are you observing to see if anything comes to get it?
I am.
After a few moments, you hear kind of like a
I'll lay prone on the ground, observing.
and you see these like rats that just scurry out, grab it, and scurry away. A couple birds fly down and poke at it. But you don't hear, I think earlier you mentioned you were looking for like a dog of some sort, or
Yes.
some sort of guard animal. You don't hear or perceive anything like that.
Okay.
You know what? Give me another perception check.
Got it. Get better than 9. We did get better.
It's hard to tell, but it could be the wind. It could be like the whistling of the wind. It could be the creaking of a door. You're not sure. But you think you hear maybe a laughing sound off in the distance, somewhere from within the scrapyard. Like a cackle, but it's probably the wind. It's hard to know.
The sound of the gust fluttering through the gears.
Indeed.
I would like to... What's the nearest direction of the... from the perimeter fence, what is the closest point to the temple or the bank that I can observe?
Oh, it's maybe 60 feet behind you, if that. Like the back door is, if you turn around. Thanks. The back door, if you turn around, it's right behind you, about 60 feet away.
Very well.
Cool.
Um,
Go ahead.
Let's see. So it's a chain link fence.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
I would like to take off my backpack and extract the repair kit and the... I have there's another relevant kit. Not climbing. Suppose... Oh! The pittance out of my climbing kit.
Oh, okay. The
I
batons.
imagine. Yes.
Cool. What would you
And
like to do?
I would like to tie a rope to a baton, weave it to the top of the fence, or weave it, like run it through the chain link of the top of the fence and just let it hang down like a rope. Like insert the baton with a rope tied to it and then turn it perpendicular and then pull it so that it wedges and leaves a rope dangling.
Nice. Yeah, you're able to do so.
And then I will, if possible, try to cut a vertical line through the chain link at about fox height.
Cool. Yeah, I think you're able to do that.
Okay? And then, after that, I will, if possible, run back to my sack of meat. And I'd like to walk around the perimeter away from where I did all of that, about 300 feet, and just start dropping sacks of meat as I walk.
Okay.
Or just handfuls of meat. Just leave them outside the chain link, but like right against the outside of the chain link, maybe 1 foot from the chain link, but just leave them on the road.
Okay.
Away from where our closest insertion point is, but just keep walking, keep dropping meat.
Sounds good.
And that'll be all I'll do for tonight.
Okay. Are y'all okay with me fast forwarding a few things?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, John does one thing during this night, which is fine. Like plank of wood, some charcoal, and some string, and make a sign that says "back in 15 minutes," and puts
Okay.
that in his back.
Cool. I like it.
Good. Good.
Does Obeafo do anything?
No, I'm just gonna follow these people, make sure they're staying out of trouble.
Okay. As you return to the inn, you're able to get set up in your rooms for the night, and the when y'all wake up in the morning, I would imagine that you are gonna find each other. You're gonna get set up and get ready to get started. It's early. It's about 7 a.m. and the bank opens at 8 a.m. So you have an hour until this occurs. Actually, what time would you wake up if it starts at 8? Opens at 8.
Probably 5.
I
or
would like to
6.
be up
Yeah.
at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm up at 5 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so you have a few
Plan.
hours to get ready, discuss.
Have we communicated what we've done? Or is...
Yeah, I assume we all met up and talked last night.
I would think you'd be able to, yeah.
Basically, we had our off-screen planning montage that we can flash back to when we need to have had a plan during the heist.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So, I know we have the key. I hope we have an exit into the scrapyard, and I don't actually know what you guys accomplished at the bank. What did you guys accomplish at the bank?
If we have the key, why don't we go before?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
That's what I want to do, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Assuming they are the keys to the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose there wouldn't be anything else, but whether or not it's the vault key is another matter.
well, and you said he told you that the other employees get there a little early, but he's the one that opens it to the public. So,
That's right.
At
He
least
opens the
tomorrow
front
morning.
and the back.
yeah. So if we come in that window between the two, we won't have any interference from the public, but the guy with the vault key should probably be there. That might be our window to go in.
Or this is the vault key. No, if he opens it to the public,
No,
this
I
is the
don't think
actual
he has
key.
access
Sorry.
to the vault. Yeah, it's just the front and the back. And I'm thinking that we get in a little early and we leave the keys somewhere that seems clear for him to have accidentally left it.
The scrapyard is full of laughing rats. I have distracted them with butchered meat.
Thank you.
They will not laugh in our faces tomorrow.
That's a good call. Nice work. I'll be honest, I didn't do as much seducing of the family man as I had hoped to.
The foxman can be the tiny foxman, yes?
Yes, I
The
can
way
do that.
is prepared.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How many keys were on his thing?
2 that seemed
4.
relevant.
4, and they are conveniently labeled now that you have a closer look on them.
Okay,
Great.
So-
That's good.
Yeah, and you have each of them are like engraved with some metal writing. They look almost identical, which is why they are engraved. First one says half wall. The second one says outside entrances. The third says teller. The fourth says Vault 1.
Okay.
And I think with that, we're going to call session for tonight.
Very good.
It's all over, man. A puzzle? We can't
That's
can't
not
do a
this
puzzle.
group.